Under the June sun, a day in the life of a farmer, 1800. I woke before the rooster did. There was no clock in the house, but a farmer doesn't need one. We rise by the sound of wind on the roof, by the ache in our back, and by the silence of a world waiting to move. Outside, the air still held the deep blue of an undisturbed well. The floorboards creaked under my bare feet as I swung my legs over the side of the bed. Mary was still sleeping, curled up, her arms wrapped around her middle, a worn wool blanket, rising and falling gently with her breath. In the room next door, Samuel, our boy, 6 years old, was probably dreaming of horses and hay rides. Last night, he told me he'd grow up to be a better farmer than me and his grandfather. I just smiled. The land stretched quiet and wide as I stepped out onto the porch. A thin fog lay like a veil across the field. The young corn leaned eastward, and the fence I built last fall had begun to tilt westward, as if bowing from fatigue. Every inch of this place I built with my hands. Every plank, every furrow, every coop. My father used to call it what's left of a dream. He ploughed with a dull blade and a sharper will, hoping for rain the way some men hope for redemption. Now I carry on that dream, but I don't dream. I work. I lit the stove with the coals from last night. The fire crackled low and familiar, casting soft orange over the kitchen wall. The smell of smoke and coffee danced through the room, an old ritual marking the moment when day turns serious. I chewed on a leftover corn biscuit, then headed out to the hen house. The hens squawked the moment they saw me. The old white one, Henrietta, pecked my heel like she always did, as if reminding me who really ran this farm. 7 eggs. I gathered them gently, each one warm in my palm, each one a piece of survival. A quiet little gift from a world that doesn't give easily. Next came the cows. Mabel, the old girl, was already waiting by the trough. She was pregnant again. I ran a hand down her neck before placing the tin bucket underneath and began milking. The sound of milk hitting metal, soft, rhythmic, was the heartbeat of this life. Then I slung the hoe over my shoulder and walked out to the far pasture. The weeds had grown tall, like threats. I bent low and got to work. Hands working, eyes squinting, back stiff. Farming doesn't make you rich, it makes you ready. The sun had just cleared the treetops when I heard the bell from the house. Mary calling us in for breakfast. I saw Samuel sitting on the porch, holding a wooden bowl, flour dust on his cheeks. He jumped up when he saw me. "Papa, did you see that squirrel near the barn?" I laughed and wiped my hands on my apron. "We'll set a trap, but if he's smarter than me, maybe he deserves to eat." We all chuckled, and in that moment, bitter coffee, warm eggs, laughter on the breeze, I felt something close to rich. After breakfast, I didn't rest. Light was currency, and you spend it, or you lose it. I took down the sickle from the shed wall, rusted but familiar, and headed for the hay field. It was time to cut fodder for the cows, not just for today, but for the winter that would come creeping in like a thief. Each swing of the sickle dropped the grass like a barber shearing wild hair. My arms worked like clock hands, steady, certain. Then I heard him, Samuel, little hat, flopped over one eye, running through the tall grass. "Papa, I want to help." I smiled. I remembered being just like him, eager, small, certain I could lift the world. "Then tie the bundles," I said. He bent down, with 2 fists of twine, fumbling, determined. We worked side by side. father and son, man and land, time and memory. At midday, the heat was thick as syrup. We sat under the old pear tree planted by my grandfather. Its shade was heavy, sweet. Mary brought out lemon water and biscuits. She sat beside us, sleeves rolled, sweat at her temples, eyes bright. We didn't say much. You don't have to talk when you love like this. I watched Samuel nibble his biscuit, crumbs all over his chin. Mary fanned him gently with my old straw hat. That moment, in its stillness, felt like the reason I was put on this earth. Later, I hauled the hay to the barn, stacked it high for the dry months ahead. Mabel mooed softly when I passed, and I gave her some. The pump handle stuck again. I took it apart, greased it, caught my thumb on a nail. Blood welled up, dark and sharp. I wrapped it with a scrap of cloth. Hurts like hell. Still, I barely flinched. Out here, you learn quick. No one patches you up, but you. Toward evening, I fixed the goat pen's broken latch. Each hammer strike echoed like a vow. I'm still here. I'm still holding this life together. Mary rinsed fresh-picked greens at the kitchen basin. She looked up, caught my gaze, and smiled. No reason, just because we were still us, still together. The sun bled low over the fields, painting the barn in honeyed gold. Samuel chased the old dog through the yard, both laughing, both free. As the light softened, a stillness fell over everything. I walked the perimeter of our land, my nightly ritual. I passed the old pear, the corn rows, the chicken coop. Every step pressed into a memory. At the old stable, I saw the one remaining horse, grey, limping, gifted on our wedding day. I laid a hand on its mane. We're growing old together, aren't we? I whispered. It neighed gently, as if agreeing or forgiving. Then the wind changed. It was sudden, sharp, and cold. A scent of wet forest drifted in from the west. I turned toward the hills, saw the grey smear of clouds gathering like a bruise on the horizon. I didn't like that wind. When I returned to the house, Mary met me on the steps. Samuel has a fever, she said. I rushed inside. He lay on our bed, face flushed, breath shallow. Hours ago, he had been fine. Now he burned like a forge. We stayed by his side all night. Mary dampened cloths. I poured herbal drops onto his tongue. The dog curled beneath the bed, whimpering. Outside, wind clawed at the walls like a warning. I thought of my sister, how she burned with fever like this when I was Samuel's age, and how she never cooled. But by dawn, the fever broke. Samuel breathed softer. His tiny hand gripped Mary's finger. She fell asleep in the chair beside him, still holding on. The lamp flickered one last time before going out. I stepped onto the porch. Morning hadn't yet broken, but the sky cracked open with pink. The breeze was gentle now. The barn sat still. The earth exhaled. I sat on the step, rubbed my sore thumb, and watched the land wake up. The same land I bled on, wept on, prayed over. We'd made it through another day. Final words. This wasn't just a day of work. It was a day of being. Being a man, being a father, being the keeper of something larger than himself. Out here, the rewards don't come in gold or glory. They come in the hush of a morning wind, the weight of a child's hand, the long, slow exhale of a world that still turns because you're still here. A subscription from you could be the motivation to tell more stories. Do you agree with me?